Good afternoon, everyone. While Manjri ma'am is setting up the technological aspects of it, let me just give you a brief profile about her. Dr. Manjri Gokhale has relentlessly worked towards bringing awareness of past life regression since 2009. She works under the banner of Samvad Center for Music and Healing. The tagline for that is, let your body and soul be in harmony. She was with us in PLRC 1 and she enthralled us with her beautiful music. And today she's come back as a presenter and we're very honored to have you, ma'am. And the topic she's presenting today is applying yoga in regression therapy, simple guidelines given by Bhagavad Gita and Patanjali Yoga Shastra to understand regression and progression and the necessary precautions to be taken in healing. I hope you have a wonderful day because it's a beautiful topic that she's talking today. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. And I think we have to start with a small prayer to Patanjali Muni. It's a small an Omkar and a prayer to Patanjali. I'll say the prayer. Omkar will chant all together. Just close your eyes. Take a deep long breath. Exhale totally. Take a deep long breath and say Om. Feel the vibrations running throughout your body and outside. योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचा मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोतं प्रवरं मुनीना पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि. Hari Om. I would like to start by going down to Patanjali Muni, to my another great master here, Dr. Newton, and of course Lord Krishna. We are going to talk about Bhagavad Gita here, so it cannot be this. We have to remember Lord Krishna here. And applying yoga in regression therapy for happiness and growth of the soul. As we all know, Dr. Newton also talked today in the morning, the basic potential of past life regression is towards self-awakening, towards the spiritual growth in the evolution process of the soul. It always takes us to higher rungs in the ladder. So, taking this as the basic step, even Patanjali Yoga Sutras and Bhagavad Gita have given many guidelines of how we have to be careful when we are going through this process of evolution. There are many hindrances coming along, which we may know, we may not know. The grosser they are, we will know the hindrances. But the subtler they start becoming, it becomes more and more difficult to understand the hindrances. And at a point of time, maybe we won't know it at all. Even if somebody tells you that this is a problem happening, some guru comes and tells you this is a problem happening with you, you may leave the guru, but you will not understand that yes, really you are facing such a problem. So there are guidelines given in Bhagavad Gita and Patanjali Yoga Sutra for this self-test of understanding, because at these subtler levels, you have to become your own guru. You don't mind if I speak हिंदी in between. तो हमारे अंदर का गुरु जगाना है. When we start moving through this evolution step, we have to see that the guru inside us is awakening. So the outer gurus become your friends and the inner guru really starts awakening. So we have to test ourselves. And then in what way we should test? We should know what are the guidelines of how we have to test ourselves. So wonderful guidelines are given. We know that how many of you all are therapists here or healers? Yeah. Everybody else knows about regression, I think, past life regression. So I may not talk about past life regression, what it is. So we know that past life regression heals the karmic loss. That is one of the primary things. We use it as a therapy. So that is what we use it for. But past life regression, when we use it therapeutically, it also helps us to understand the karmic laws, the laws of nature, the law of reincarnation, law of attraction, and many other laws which are in the energy field. PLR helps us to understand it very easily, and it comes out like an intuition. Not necessarily that you may get messages or somebody will tell you or something like that. It comes as an intuition, and it is very easy at the initial steps. But when this is not the only thing we have to remember that understanding is surely necessary, but it is not enough. We have to apply them. Dr. Newton told us today morning, we have to start applying the messages we get. And while applying the messages, many hindrances are bound to come. We have to apply these understandings in our life to balance and harmonize the inner and outer self. Okay? So, when as a healer or as a client, you are going and doing PLR or any other healing session which is meant to be more spiritual, then we have to see that our inner self is aligned with the outer self. We are working outside also and we have to work inside also. So our inner self and outside self have to be balanced always. When she introduced me, she told, let your body and soul be in harmony. So being a singer, harmony is, I feel that the whole world has to be a harmony. Your inner self and the outer self have to be in harmony. The way you work and the way you work with others. So the other and you have to be in harmony. So harmony has to be the basis when we are in a spiritual evolution style. To balance and harmonize the understandings with the actions. Understanding ho gaya hai. Now I need to act accordingly. So we have to keep on checking whether my actions and my understanding are tallying every time. And this is a continuous check. Not in the morning I do the check and in the evening I forget. No. In every action, the more and more awareness we will develop, that the more and more our actions will be done in a better and better and move a step further in the process of evolution. And while doing this, we have to, if we strictly follow morals and ethics, a prerequisite for further evolution. Unless and until we follow the morals and ethics, it is not possible to cross the steps. You may also fall down. A devolution may happen. So we have to always be aware. Only knowledge is not going to help. Only understanding is not going to help. Because that is not enough at all. The real thing lies in your actions. How you act, your body, mind and soul all together. The action of the mind also. action of the body, action of the speech. And the action of the speech and mind are more important than the action of the body. And we have to keep this in mind continuously. Else the very experiences may become stagnant and poisonous, leading to an extreme spiritual downfall. And it is in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, in the Vibhuti Pada, in the 3rd chapter, Patanjali Muni has given a lot many Vibhutis, Siddhis, the psychic abilities we get, like PLR experiences and clairvoyance and clairaudience and so many other psychic abilities we start getting. And all that once we start getting them, what happens is, and we start applying them. Well, initially we start applying with a very compassionate heart. Yes, I have to tell this to others, I have to share it with everyone, and with this mindset. Okay, that is wonderful, perfect. Afterwards what happens? Because once you start healing somebody, that person gets healed, then that person will tell somebody else, that person will tell somebody else, and number of people will start becoming more and more, the person's getting healed. Now, that obstacle comes. Oh my, I am a very good healer. Yeah, nobody like me, nobody to beat me. Wonderful healing I do. Usually, at this point of time, masters give you a client who is a hopeless client. To warn you, yes, this is not you who are healing, it is the masters who are healing. It is the evolution process which is happening. It is the other person's will that is healing him, not you. You are just a medium. And we have to keep this in mind continuously. If that warning, with that warning also you are not aware, many people don't become aware. Many people become aware, but my God, I have to remember that I am just a medium. And so every time you have to remember this. Because once you start healing, name, fame and money will follow. Okay? And then again, name, fame and money are the things which we are going to pull you down. They have a downward pull towards the earth, towards the ground, towards the life and death cycle. And they will try to pull you down, and you have to be there. So you have to continuously have a lot of energy, lot of trust for yourself, lot of trust for masters, and only with that you will be able to stay there and progress. I say, even if you don't progress, it is okay. At least don't fall. And there is a big chance of falling down. And you will, once you get into the trap of money, name and fame, it is very difficult, because now you are doing a very subtle job, a very sattvic job, and people will say, oh, you are a wonderful person. And that way you are wonderful. No doubt about that, except for that name and fame. But that fame and name will not help you to grow in the process of evolution, and you will get either stuck up there or you may fall down. So we have to remember this, that it can become poisonous, it can become stagnant, and it may lead to an extreme downfall. It is like in the snakes and ladders, there is a last snake on the 99 or 98 maybe, which comes down right to 2. And it is the most dangerous snake which eats you up. Then you have to start right from 2. You are not allowed to move further. So to avoid such falls, we have to take a lot of precautions.
Actually, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
What do you mean by morals and ethics? The same what we
Coming. By keeping a watch on the effects. So how to do these self-tests? Usually morals and ethics means the usual lessons we have been brought up with. Same ones. Usually. Not in a detail, because every house will understand it differently. So not in the details of it, but the basic will be the same. By keeping a watch on the effects, we can test our achievement levels, growth levels. See, the seers and rishis have given permanent solutions to it. They have not given objective solutions to, means like testing There will be some machine which will test whether you are on the right scale or no, whether you are growing or no. There will be no machines because ultimately machines may fail. But it is you who have to grow, not the machines. So you have to test it yourself. Okay, so how will you test it? So they have given some equations that if you do this, this tree will bear this fruit. If this is the seed, this seed will bear this fruit. So you have to go by the fruits and the effects and test. Supposing you get a mango and you had thought of getting a papaya. If you get a mango, you have to know that yes, I have not sown papaya. I have sown mango. So by just the fruits of it, we have to check ourselves. And through the fruits we will understand. And Patanjali Rishi has given wonderful fruits of what will lead to what. If we do not notice any effect or notice an opposite effect, we need to check where the flaw is. Again, the self-check has to be done. We then need to check and find the error by comparing our actions with our understanding and the morals and check the points given by our rishis. Now, what are those points? Maharishi Patanjali has given 5 yamas. On and whole, actually, you go through any rishis or seers texts, they have given some yamas, some disciplines to follow, and more or less, they can be combined and they can fall into these 5 yamas. Though not exactly, but more or less we can use them. So the yamas are the disciplines towards the relationship with the outside and the inside world. So by outside world, with the people we live in and with ourselves also. Like in the morning we talked about forgiveness. Forgiving others is easy, forgiving ourselves is difficult. So if we are going to go for forgiving, we have to forgive others as well as our own selves. So the outer world as well as our inner self. So ahimsa is the first yama. Ahimsa means non-violence, which we can understand. Absence of desire to cause injury. And we have to do with this mind, not only physically, but with your whole heart, with compassion and love. Only and only then it will become ahimsa. Just eating vegetarian diet does not make you ahimsavadi. Because if you are a vegetarian person, but you are killing an ant, you are not ahimsavadi. You are killing a mosquito. So this is not ahimsa. So ahimsa means you have to be very compassionate, very loving, and then don't kill. Then Bhagavad Gita has told, then still you can kill, because sometimes killing a mosquito is necessary, isn't it? So what you do, say to the mosquito, yes, I don't want you in the house because you are creating a lot of obstacles. I can't stay here, I can't do my work, so you please go away. At least once tell that mosquito to go away. Okay? प्यार से बोलना है. Of course, that mosquito may listen, may not listen. If you are a perfect ahimsa, that mosquito will listen. If you are not a perfect ahimsa, mosquito will not listen. But then, just you may kill that mosquito. Just tell that mosquito before killing, I am going to kill you now. Please excuse me for that, and then kill it. And then उसको जरा श्राद्ध करते हैं, वैसे उसका भी श्राद्ध करना. And with total love and compassion, to tell उसको सद्गति मिलने दो, because I am at a fault, he was not. That mosquito was doing his work, but I have killed him for my selfish reasons. Okay, so this is ahimsa, and we have to follow such ahimsa daily for every small and big things we are doing in life. Not only big things, small things also. So this is ahimsa, and once you start following ahimsa, what is going to happen is enmity between species are renounced in the practitioner's presence. There are ample stories of wonderful sadhaks and rishis, where rishis are sitting for meditation and snakes and everybody have gathered around to watch their meditation. They are not doing anything. I think so. Every seer has such wonderful stories. If you go through their life stories, you will know that every seer has gone through such stories. And there are tigers, lions coming near them, but they don't do anything. Even a hungry tiger doesn't eat that rishi. Why? Because that rishi is ahimsavadi. So this is the sign that you have become ahimsak. If mosquitoes are moving around you and still they are not biting you, remember you are on a good path. You are on the right path. You have started becoming ahimsak in the mind, in your innermost self. But if even a single mosquito in this room is going to harm you, then surely you are not ahimsak. So through the effects, we are going to test whether I have become ahimsak or not. So we are going to go, after doing these yamas, okay, we'll go to self-test immediately. So satya, truthfulness, speaking truth with a vritti of ahimsa. No, we should not speak blunt truth, which will be pierced. A person who is going to die from 2 days from now, and you go to visit that person in the hospital. Oh, I know you are going to die after 2 days. Wish you a very happy journey. Please don't say that. Please don't say that. You are going to hurt that person. Maybe you can just say, because even that person knows I am going to die. So, but maybe you can speak the truth, but in a very diplomatic and wonderful way, using wonderful language, saying, oh, we are going to meet in next life. Remember, where and when we'll meet, okay, you decide for you. Okay. So, anyhow, but we have to tell that person in a very wonderful and very loving way the truth. But don't say it bluntly. Ahimsa, you should not kill that person's mind, you should not kill that person's emotions when you are saying Satya. Again, Bhagavad Gita, I remember, like the sentence in the movie Sita और Gita. भगवान कहते हैं कि किसी नेक काम के लिए अगर झूठ भी बोलना पड़े तो वो 100 सच के बराबर है, नेक काम के लिए. Yes, of course it is true, because you are not interested in speaking the lies, you are interested in the ahimsa. So the motive is ahimsa. Motive is not speaking wrong things, because with children we speak, so many times the child is asking for something very hot thing, and we are saying, no, I'll give it to you, okay? There's something he doesn't like, or we'll say, it is there inside it, I'll remove it and give it to you, or with something. But we are going to tell him perfect lies. So, because that child is not going to understand. So, it is okay to speak lies in such conditions if you are totally full of compassion and love. So, Satya does not mean that you have to break that other's heart. It has to be totally ahimsa. And if you start becoming Satyavadi like this, what will happen is our wishes will be granted. The moment you start thinking that I want such and such thing to happen, and you will see the line of actions outside and inside you happening in a similar way. So it is a sign, even partially it may start happening, that for sometimes it happens, sometimes it does not happen. But once wishes are started being granted, you can see to yourself that yes, you have become a Satyavadi person. Okay. Similarly, Asteya, non-stealing, even of ideas and credits, that is very, very, very important. Because we all who have gathered here, surely we don't steal others' purses. Surely we have come to such a level that we don't do that. Okay. But mind you, we do steal ideas and take credit to ourselves. Like supposing today Dr. Newton has told the story of Chitragupta and Yama. Okay, I take a workshop and I say, okay, now I will tell you a story of Yama. This is what I have created. I have thought of this story. Okay, maybe in my dreams or something. I tell them like this, and I take the credit of that story. It is stealing. I have to give due credit to the person from whom I have learnt.
If something good is achieved out of it, why not?
Again, if your hetu is wonderful, okay, because, but 100%, it should be 100% that way.
No, but what will be achieved by not giving credit? Okay.
The point is giving credit.
Right, suppose Preeti, one second. Like I will tell you something. What he has said, there is a point in it. I tell a lot many times Osho stories. Okay. What Osho quotes, I will tell many times. But if some person, a hater of Osho, is sitting in front of me, because there are people who hate Osho, okay? I know them. And I know this person doesn't like Osho. Then I may say, okay, this is not said by Osho, some other person he likes. Wonderful. I want this idea to be, yeah, give it to him. So my motto is the prime thing. What I say, physical action will not matter much if my motto is wonderful. Because I know this person will not receive if I say that this is said by Osho. But if I am damn sure about it, then. Otherwise there is no need to not give credit to somebody who has really given you that. Okay. So Asteya, and this is a very subtle problem we face. And we are not aware of it many times. Because he gets all the wealth that is needed. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. You decide that I want to go through such and such project, and the money will be provided to you, whatever is needed, the wealth needed, if you need some place for that, it will be provided to you. How you are not aware of it, but surely things will start happening. And if they are not happening, remember you are stealing something from somebody. So, if that effect is not coming to you, surely you are doing something. Some stealing is going on in your mind, maybe. Physically we are not of that level, so I will not talk of the physical stealing. But surely on the mental level we are doing. Brahmacharya, chastity is one of the main things in Brahmacharya, but not necessarily. Even a person who is in search of Brahman, who is in search of Aham Brahmasmi, can be termed as a Brahmachari, but his priority setting has to be that. In the whole life span, the priority setting has to be Aham Brahmasmi, to find the search of Aham Brahmasmi. Then that person, even if that person is married, rishis were married, they had wives. Some rishis had one night, two or three wives also. So it is okay as far as your priority in the whole system of life, in the whole working of life is Aham Brahmasmi. The search is going on, and you can tell others that yes, that is so. But if your priority is not so, you will not get the full knowledge, purpose of your birth. What we are doing in age regression, okay, that you will get automatically from inside. You will start understanding the purpose of your life. You will know the whole of your birth process. You will know how you were when you were in your mother's womb. Automatically it will come to you. in a meditation or something like that, this birth process will happen to you without somebody else's guidance. It will happen on its own. Means you have not thought about it and it starts happening. Then it is the fruit of, Brahmacharya we gain vitality, Brahmacharya we gain vitality, a lot of strength, vitality, physical power, mental power, emotional power, whatever we need, we get it through Brahmacharya by chastity. Aparigraha, not holding attitude, whatever is needed we have to have, as I told, outside and inside, both have to be harmonized. So in the outside world, see, we have a house, so we have to keep some tea, we have to keep some coffee, we have to keep some sugar in the house. So that is not holding, but my neighbor is not having, and that neighbor is asking for some tea, I have it in my house, but still I am saying, no, I don't have it much, it is just enough for me. Okay, so maybe I'll go and buy for that person, but I will not give from me. So I am hoarding it in my